Hello, It's Me is a movie that revolves around Anne after the death of her husband and the possibility of finding new love and moving on. 2 years after the sudden death of the patriarch of the Harlow family, Anne and her children, Ella and Milo, go to the beach to remember his death. Bakery expert Anne finds it hard to make it without Andre and cannot seem to move on. Ever since his death, there is this immense sadness and loneliness she feels. This makes her teenage daughter, Ella, worry about her. After the beach, they pack up pastries for a party they would be attending. Anne starts the car, but it has difficulties. Her son asks to go back to the beach to pick up stones while she searches for a cab. The cab arrives. Anne and Ella hold the pastry cookies in their hands and try to get in. Unknowingly, James reverses his car to them, leading them to drop the boxes. Immediately, he steps out of the car to see them and apologizes profusely for what he did. He claims that he couldn't see them because they were in his blind spot. While picking up the boxes, she argues that he was using his cell phone, but later on, he says it was on speakerphone, so it's legally okay. She teases him for being a lawyer and says that he would have killed her and the children. He feels bad for knocking the food down and wants to pay for it. She rejects his money. He chuckles because he had not heard it before and people always want to take his money. Her son, Milo, arrives and begins to babble to James about cookies, hinting at their connection. James feels bad for spilling the cookies and offers to get them a ride. She agrees, and when he tries to talk to her, she rolls her window up, refusing to talk to him. Unknown to James, she is catering for his party and in his house. They arrive at his big and nice house. Erica, Anne's friend and co-worker, arrive to greet them. She tells the children to go and play while she talks to her mother. Anne narrates everything that happened with James and his $1 million car. James finally arrives at his house and his debutant divorced mother, Lillian, goes to greet him. She is obsessed with finding him a lover and wants him to be with someone good. She immediately introduces him to Susan, a social media addicted lifestyle blogger. He argues to Lillian that he is doing well financially and talks about the long, busy schedule. She wants to be a grandmother before she gets old. Meeting Susan, he is fascinated by her beauty, but she talks a lot. They grab a drink together and chat. She takes a picture of him to post him later on. When he questions her, she says that if she doesn't post in a few hours, people will think she is dead. To avoid her, he devises a lie that he needs to say hi to one of his friends. Anne is still in the house, worried about what to give the guests as desserts. Erica tells her to improvise since she is good at that. She had plans to improvise and expand her bakery, but she can't anymore because it was her and Andre's dream. She walks into the pantry and fumes about how the owner doesn't have any food in the house. James arrives just in time to hear her complain, but she can't see him. When he speaks up, she turns around and is surprised to see him. He apologizes to her again and says that he is excited to see her so that he can apologize to her. Once again, he tries to give her money and she refuses. He tastes one of the cookies and is very impressed by her baking skills. She tells him that the cookies are for James but doesn't know who he is. She jokes that his name sounds like a television made-up show. Erica tries to tell Anne that he is the James that she is talking about. He finally reveals his identity and she is mortified. He asks if he can pay for the pastry. She argues that it is pity money, knowing that he won't eat it. She thinks that he has a personal trainer who doesn't let him get close to carbs. He teases her and takes her to a place where he stores his junk food. He admits to being a sweet tooth. She is in awe of a special particular chocolate that has not been available for production anymore. He smirks and answers that he has a guy who produces it for him. She teases him if he has a rosemary guy. He takes her to the garden where there is plenty of rosemary. She commends him on his beautiful garden. He tells her that it's a great place to escape. Anne can't possibly think why he would want to escape. He speaks about not being comfortable around so many people. She asks him why, if he doesn't like being around people, why does he host the party? He claims that it is for charity. He teases that he wants to be friends with her. She starts to make dessert together and he wants to watch her. He tastes the batter and admits that she is really good. She tells him that he needs to marry someone who can cook and humorously suggests that she would be interested, but he thinks that she is serious about it. He apologizes for not knowing that she was married. She reveals to him that her husband passed away 2 years ago and she was happily married. To escape his sympathy, she tells him that she needs to get back to work. He realizes that she wants to be alone and says that he needs to return to the party. In return, she teases him that he won't get in trouble for hanging around the help. He tells her that he loved spending time with her and this was the most fun part of the party. When he leaves, Erica hints that he was very happy and suggests that something should go on. Ella and Milo come back downstairs. Ella wants to leave to go home while Milo wants to stay. Anne finishes up her work and talks about the spoiled car. Erica reveals that James had her car towed and ready for them. She complains that she doesn't have enough to pay him. Erica pushes her to appreciate the gesture and she texts James' phone number so that they can talk. At home, Anne is working late and suddenly feels nostalgic about Andre. She calls his phone just to hear his voice. She leaves on his voicemail that she misses him. Suddenly, Andre answers her and she is mortified to hear his voice. She considers herself crazy for hearing him and calls out for her children in case they can hear him. The video of him begins to play on his own. Before he cuts, he mentions the phrase time multiple times. She asks him what it means. Unfortunately, he leaves the phone before she can say more. The next morning, Milo wants pancakes like his dad used to make. She admires that he looks so much like him. Elle comes down and argues that she loves his pancakes from him. Anne hopes that her daughter would talk to her more and stop bottling things. Erica comes home and sees the fiction between the two. Ella leaves after stating that she is okay and would talk about things when she is ready. When Anne complains about being a bad mother, Erica assures her that she is doing great and Ella needs time to cope with everything happening. Erica brings up James and hints that she had never seen her enjoy her work so much and decides to bring up James. Anne wants to change the topic. She reminds her that she has been single for 2 years. She pushes her that it's okay to enjoy life without Andre. Anne tells her of the supernatural encounter with Andre. Erica dismisses her for being crazy and reminds her that she left her ring in the kitchen corner of his house. James promises to bring it for her. She argues that he could have sent it over instead of him showing up. Erica pushes her to realize that James is a good guy and that their relationship can be for friendship. Andre would want her to have a new friend and to spend time with someone. Anne is confused about the encounter and asks Erica if she has ever had a dead person send messages to someone living. Erica tells her that it's nothing but a game and says that it is normal for Anne to hope for something when it isn't there. James' car pulls into the neighborhood and Erica leaves for them to spend time together. She goes out to meet James and teases him to take it slow with Anne. He plays clueless about everything and says he is just dropping off the ring, but she knows what he means and wants. Anne quickly fixes herself up before opening the door to James. She apologizes for being so messy. He contradicts her and tells her that she looks pretty and that most of the women he knows spend hours dressing up. She smiles and says that the women he knows don't eat. He commends her house for being homey and having a great vibe to it. Milo comes in and tries to do a handshake with James. Milo tries to spend time with him, but Anne argues that he has a lot of work to do. Neither James nor Milo listens to her. James notices the comic magazine on the table and speaks up about it, thinking it's Milo's. Ella speaks up that it is hers. James tries to make conversation with her about the magazine, but she is not interested. She grabs the magazine from him and leaves. He apologizes to Anne for not upsetting her and she assures him that Elle is still going through some things. James wants to give her the ring and leave, but Milo drags him outside. He asks him to put the boxes on top of each other and says that Anne is too short to do so. Milo makes James create a cardboard rocket ship. Ella comes out of the house to tell him that he was right about the comic. She asks him if he's the kind of boy that hangs around the comic store without anything to do. While Anne chastises her for being rude, he continues to talk about it and makes Ella smile. Anne is pleased that she is smiling for the first time in a long while and compliments her. James says that her smile is just as pretty as his mother's. When they step back into the house, she tells him that he can leave anytime he wants. He asks about her bakery because Erica told him that she wanted to start one. He suggests that he can help her find investors if it is a financial thing. Anne tells him that she is not planning to do so. He apologizes for stepping out of his place and says that he recognizes his good investment when he sees it. He wants to leave but remembers the ring. He drops it off and Erica comes in. Anne calls her out for telling James her secret. Erica tells her that he is a good investor. The phone begins to ring. She thinks it may be Andre trying to communicate with her again, and Anne complains that she may be losing it, but Erica tells her that she will be getting it back. Ella and her best friend, Kim, talk about the comic book. Kim thinks that Ella is coming back to play soccer, but Ella tells her that she is not. She still needs time to herself. Kim argues that it reminds her of her dad. In annoyance, Ella tries to leave, but Kim stops her. She tells her that she still says no to everything and tells her that she misses the old her. She needs to start doing things again. James goes for lunch with his mother. He orders lobster, but she changes it to soup. She tells him that he doesn't deserve a big lunch for blowing off Susan. He appreciates her concern about his love life, but he warns her to stop. His mother says that she wants him to find a good woman like Susan and hints that she would be joining them for dinner. He is shocked that his mother would do so. He rejects the invitation and says that he has been invited for dinner somewhere else. He is excited about Anne inviting him for dinner. At the house, James shows up with wine. She is confused about him showing up until Milo says that he invited him to the party. James understands because the invitation message was filled with a lot of typos. She chastises Milo that he needs to check in with him before doing things. James tries to leave, but Milo begs that he wants him to stay. Anne agrees to let him stay. He gifts him a spaceship. She invites him in and he suggests that he wants to help with the spaghetti. During dinner, they talk and talk. Milo wants to build a control panel for his space and she tells him it's time for bed. He leaves, but James tells him to always check with his mother first. James and Anne are at the table. He apologizes for Ella not coming close or being nice enough. She tells him that she is just going through some things. He believes that her home is the most real place ever. She admits that she has not been able to eat there before. He calls her beautiful. She stands up to help her son with his bedtime routine. He wants to leave, but she tells him to stay and finish his dessert. She wants to spend time with him. James picks up Andre's picture and lets him know that he was very lucky to have Anne. James starts to clean up the kitchen. She returns to the kitchen and thanks him for everything. She wants to clear the air, telling him that she doesn't want him to get the wrong idea. He teases her that it's just dinner and she laughs. He admits that he doesn't want to pressure her but loves being around her. He loves her energy and her when she is writing to her children. They are about to kiss when her phone rings. It's Andre calling. Frantically, she leaves to go upstairs to talk to him, but the network is fluctuating. James is worried about why she leaves just like that without any explanation. During the call, Andre just mutters the word yes. She is confused when the phone goes off and cries that he shouldn't leave her. She then returns to meet James downstairs. She apologizes to James, who thinks he was too pushy. Before he leaves, he asks her to meet her at the marine but admits that it's not a date. She arrives at the marine. He wants to take the boat out, but she doesn't like boats. He suggests walking and talks to her about running last night. She once again apologizes and says that she is not ready for a relationship with him. She questions why he wants to be friends with her. She believes that he has everything figured out, unlike her. He tells her that she has a life and a purpose. He doesn't want all the riches, and she teases him that she wants his house. He tells her that it's something in her house that he hasn't experienced before. He wants a family. He brings up the bakery, and she unknowingly says yes to his proposal of coming up with the bakery. They celebrate it and begin to start looking for it. They begin to check the place around for a good location. When they do, they start painting the place. She opens a bakery shop and names it Milo and Ella. During this time, Anne and the children spend a lot of time in James's house. Ella complains that they should go back to the house instead of staying with James. Milo argues that they should stay because now Anne is happy. She agrees that she loves it here. Anne begins to worry that the restaurant may not turn out, but he assures her that everything will be all right. James suggests that they should go out to the restaurant. Ella speaks against it immediately and wants to go home for dinner. Anne talks to her and says that she has had enough. She says that they are going out because they all made sacrifices for the shop to open. They all go for dinner. James notices Ella looking back at the soccer team and asks her if she is a sports fan. She responds that he would rather not do the whole bonding thing with her. Anne excuses her and Ella and asks that she apologizes to James for being rude. Ella refuses and says that the least she can do is ground her. Anne wants to find out about her behavior, but Ella doesn't want to share. She leaves with Leo to take him to the bathroom. Anne returns to James and apologizes for her daughter's behavior. James understands that Ella sees what is going on between them. She says that they are just friends, but he tells her that he doesn't want to kiss his other friends like he wants to kiss her. He compliments her on being great and they share their first kiss. Ella watches from a distance and gets upset. When she returns to the table, she talks about the sleepover. Anne doesn't want her to go because of her recent bad behavior, but says that it would be good for her to spend time with friends. They all get back home. Anne comes downstairs after reading a story to Milo. James wants to kiss her again, but he tells her that Andre's death was terrible, but she needs to move on. She cries that she promised Andre that she wouldn't fall for anyone, and he tells her that she did. They kiss again. The phone starts to ring and she says Andre. He is confused that she is thinking about him. She continues to babble about things not going on. She answers the phone, but it is Kim calling, but Andre. Kim tells Anne that Ella never showed up to the sleepover. Anne is confused because she knows that she dropped her at the location. Anne begins to panic about her whereabouts. James calls the police immediately. The police show up and see her picture. Anne begs that they find her. The police officer assures her that Ella cannot be far and they will find her. Anne remembers that Ella has money saved and could leave it somewhere. She admits that she made a mistake being with James and says that it is too soon. She leaves to check on Milo. He makes a few phone calls to his investigator. Anne comes back downstairs and he tells her that a private investigator is now working. Anne decides to call Andre and fusses over her phone dying. She cries that he needs to believe her about talking to her husband. He decides to switch the SIM card so that she can call Andre on her phone. She opens the video but nothing. When she leaves to go upstairs, he takes the phone and the video shows Andre talking to him. He hints that she may be at the comic magazine store. James immediately tells her that he knows where she is, but she has to stay with Milo in case he wakes up. James goes to the comic store and sees Ella with her friends. James texts Anne to let her know that he found her. He approaches Ella, who refused to come back home. He says that Anne is going out of her mind to find her. He calls her out for treating her like this, knowing that happened years ago. He assures her that he cares about all of them. She questions him for being close to them. The real thing is that she is scared that he may leave and Anne would be hurt again. He wants to take her home and she wants to meet Turner, so they decide to go on the line and see him. He gets on the line and Turner recognizes James. Ella is confused that they were college roommates and there is a character based on him. After the event, she thanks him. He tells her not to do it again and says that she can kiss her comic connection goodbye if she tries it again. She chuckles that he sounds like a dad. He promises that he would never replace her dad and just wants to make them happy. They get home. Anne and Ella hug each other. She tells her that she is grounded till age 30. She thanks him for bringing her home. He wants to kiss her but she rejects him. Ella tells her that it's okay and that she and James are cool now. After Ella leaves, they embrace. She breaks up with him because she doesn't want to lose anyone, so he leaves. Ella questions her on why she left him. She blames herself for letting things happen. Anne says it was her fault for letting him in the first place. Anne cries when she goes upstairs. James goes to lunch with his mother and hints that they broke up. Lillian is happy that Anne, the cookie lady, is no longer with her son. He argues that she is a world-class chef. He angrily expresses that he wants what she wants. He feels at home with her. She notices that he is lost when they break up. She tells him that she just wants the best for him. She admits that she was never happy with her father. She promised to mind her business and urges her to try to be with him. James goes to the cake shop and sees her. She is so confused and he says that he is just here for the afternoon checkup as an investor. She tells him that they are doing great. He brings up the lemon cake on the display. He asks that Milo and Ella come by one afternoon so that they can spend time together. She tells him that they miss them too. He asks about James, and when things are awkward, he tries to talk about lemon cake. She then leaves to do something at the back. She is home when Ella joins her. She tells her that this is stupid about watching her disappear. She cries that if he broke up with her, it would be worse because she may not be able to handle it. She thought that she was angry, but she was just protecting her. Anne apologizes to her and tells her to go on with her life. Ella tells her that she deserves to be happy too. She goes and says that Andre won't be happy to see her like this. She calls him in hopes that she could call him and talk to him. She goes to the beach to connect with him. James comes to pick her up and he asks about the messages. He says that he has moved on, so she must do the same. She apologizes that she pushed him away. They talk about the moment he nearly hit her. He thinks that it was accidental, but she says that it was meant to be. They kiss and go to the house where they are greeted by the children.